Julia loved books. She wanted to be a writer when she was a little girl. She read all kinds of books. Novels, poems, essays, biographies. She admired the writers who created wonderful stories with words. Julia read a lot in her childhood. Her favorite books were adventure and fantasy books. She read the Harry Potter series many times. She loved The Lord of the Rings by J.R.R. Tolkien. She imagined the Chronicles of Narnia by C.S. Lewis. She wanted to be like these writers. She wanted to create magical worlds. Julia started writing in primary school. Her teacher gave them a homework to write a story. Julia wrote a fairy tale. A tale with fairies, dragons, witches. Her teacher liked her story very much. He read it in the class. Her friends clapped. Julia was very happy. She continued writing after that day. Julia studied literature at university. She worked hard to improve her writing skills. She wrote short stories and poems for the school magazine. Her teachers and friends gave her nice comments. She believed that she could write a great novel one day. Julia learned many things at university. She took courses on literature history, literary movements, criticism theories. She read writers from different countries, periods, genres. Shakespeare, Tolstoy, Kafka, Orwell, Marquez. She learned a lot from them. She tried to find her own style. Julia wrote her first novel in the third year of university. It was a love story. A girl and a boy meeting, falling in love, breaking up and meeting again. Julia was inspired by her own life. But she added different things too. Her novel had fantasy elements too. The girl was a fairy, the boy was a dragon. Julia finished her novel and sent it to a publisher. The publisher liked her novel and published it. Julia's novel did not sell much, but it got good reviews. Some readers wrote letters to her. They said they loved her novel very much. Julia was very happy about them. She wanted to write better novels. Julia met David in the last year of university. David was a handsome and smart architecture student. Julia and David fell in love at first sight and started dating. Julia and David's meeting was by chance. Julia bumped into David when she was looking for a book in the library. The books in David's hand fell to the ground. Julia apologized. David smiled. He looked at the names of the books. They were all fantasy books. David liked fantasy books too.
Did you read these books?
Yes, I read all of them.
Me too.
Which one is your favorite?
Hard question.
And they started talking like that. Julia and David's first date was at the cinema. They went to watch a new movie. The movie was very good, but they did not watch the movie much. They talked, laughed, held hands all the time. After the movie ended, they went outside. The weather was cold, but they did not feel cold. They walked together, ate ice cream, sat in the park. Julia told David about herself. She said she wanted to be a writer. She said she wanted to write beautiful stories. David said he read Julia's first novel. He said he liked her novel very much. Julia was very surprised and happy. She thanked David. David asked Julia if she was writing a new novel. Julia said she was working on a new novel, but she said she did not finish it yet. David asked Julia what her new novel was about. Julia said her new novel was about a secret, but she did not give more details. Julia smiled and said David could read her new novel when she finished it. David said he was looking forward to her new novel, and they continued talking like that. Julia and David's marriage proposal was romantic. David took Julia to dinner. They had a table at a nice restaurant. Candles, flowers, music. Everything was perfect. After dinner, David gave Julia a box. There was a ring in the box. A diamond ring. David asked Julia to stand up. Then he kneeled down and proposed to Julia.
Julia, I love you very much. I had the best moments of my life with you. I want to have more with you. Will you marry me?
Julia was very touched and her eyes filled up. She held David's hand and nodded.
Yes, yes, yes.
David got up happily and hugged Julia. Then he put the ring on Julia's finger. Julia looked at the ring and liked it very much. David kissed Julia and thanked her. The people in the restaurant clapped and congratulated them. Julia and David were very happy and they were looking forward to the future. Julia and David's marriage lasted 2 years. They did a lot of things, shared a lot of things, enjoyed a lot of things in these 2 years. Julia and David decorated their house nicely. Pictures, carpets, ornaments. Everything was according to their taste. Julia and David liked to travel. They went to many places. Paris, Rome, London. They collected beautiful memories everywhere. Julia and David liked to spend time with their friends. They invited them to their house. They cooked, played games, watched movies. Julia and David were interested in each other's jobs. Julia looked at David's architecture projects. David also read the pages that Julia wrote. Julia finished her second novel and sent it to a publisher. The publisher liked her novel and agreed to publish it. David was also very successful in his job and completed many projects. His boss and customers praised his creativity and professionalism. Julia and David were very happy and they were looking forward to the future. But one day everything changed. Julia found out that David cheated on her with another woman. She was very shocked and hurt. She asked him why he did it. David said he was sorry and he still loved her. He said he made a mistake and wanted to fix it. But Julia did not believe him. She felt cheated and angry. She told him to go and never come back. She packed his things and threw them out of the window. She slammed and locked the door behind him. She cried for hours on the couch. She could not believe how bad he treated her. She could not understand how he could do it. She could not forgive him for breaking her trust and heart. She decided to end their marriage and divorce. She wanted to forget him and move on with her life. But it was not easy. Julia lost her passion for writing. She could not focus on her novel or anything else. She felt depressed and lonely. She distanced herself from her friends and family. She stopped going out or having fun. Most of the time she stayed at home, looking at the wall or the ceiling. She did not answer the phone or the door. Nothing mattered to her. She wanted to disappear from the world. This continued for 6 months. Julia realized that this situation was not healthy or helpful. She knew she had to do something to change her situation. She knew she had to find a way to heal her wounds and regain her happiness. She knew she had to start living again. But she did not know how or where to start. She tried to write something, but she could not write. She had no inspiration or motivation. She felt she had nothing to say or share. She felt she lost her voice and identity. She felt she had no purpose or meaning in life. She felt hopeless and helpless. She thought she needed a change. She wanted to change the scenery and make a new start. She thought moving to a small village in the countryside would be good for her soul and mind. She thought living away from the city and its noise, close to nature, would be relaxing and peaceful. She thought meeting new people and trying new things could be interesting and exciting. So she packed her bags and left her house. She took a bus to the village and rented a small cabin next to the forest. She settled in and tried to make herself comfortable. She explored the village and its surroundings. She saw green fields, blue sky, colorful flowers, and cute animals. She smelled clean air, sweet herbs, and fragrant flowers. She heard birds singing, wind blowing, and water flowing. She felt the sun's heat, the breeze's coolness, and the earth's solidity. She admired nature's beauty and harmony. She felt calm and peaceful. She felt alive and hopeful. She felt she found a new home. She also met the villagers and made friends. They were very kind and warm to her. They invited her to their houses and shared their stories. They taught her their culture and traditions. They showed her their crafts and skills. They helped her in their work and problems. They made her laugh and smile. They made her feel she found a new family. Julia started writing again. She wrote about what she saw, heard, smelled, felt, and learned in the village. She wrote about people, animals, plants, and places. She wrote about their joys, sorrows, hopes, and fears. She wrote about their past, present, and future. She wrote about herself, her feelings, thoughts, and dreams. She wrote a novel about how a lost love led to a new life. She wrote with passion and creativity. She wrote with hope, optimism, and faith. Julia finished her novel after living in the village for a year. She sent it to a publisher and they liked it very much and agreed to publish it. Her novel became a bestseller in the world. Her novel touched many hearts and minds. Her novel inspired many people to follow their dreams and overcome their challenges. Her novel was translated into many languages. Her novel was adapted into a movie. Her novel became a masterpiece. Julia was proud of herself and her work. Julia found her voice and identity again. Julia found her happiness again. Julia found herself again. What was Julia's favorite type of books when she was a child? A. Romance novels. B. Adventure and fantasy books. C. Biographies. D. Essays. Time is over. Where did Julia and David have their first date? A. At a park. B. In a library. C. At the cinema. D. At a restaurant. Time is over. Why did Julia leave David? A. David cheated on her with another woman. B. Julia fell in love with another man. C. David and Julia had a disagreement. D. Julia wanted to move out of town for work. Time is over. Why did Julia decide to move to a small village in the countryside? A. Because she wanted to be closer to the city. B. Because she missed the noise of the city. C. To find peace and start over. D. To get away from nature. Time is over. What happened to Julia's novel after it was published? A. It became a bestseller. B. It was forgotten. C. It was never published. D. It was adapted into a TV series. Time is over. What did Julia's novel inspire people to do? A. Give up on their dreams. B. Forget their challenges. C. Follow their dreams and overcome their challenges. D. Stop reading books. Time is over.